KCAU 9 Sports.
What's poppin', Siouxland? I'm Alexander Huddleston. Welcome to sports. Bear with me as I fight off the tail end of a cold, but let's kick things off with some Wayne State women's soccer. On the soccer pitch, USF hosted Wayne State at Bob Young Field. 4th minute, Cougars center it into the box, and Madure pulls up the shot. Wildcat keeper Alexa Hofstetter punches it out for the save. 8th minute, Wayne moving on the far side. Molly Riggins is going to launch the shot in the top shelf and sneaks in just below the crossbar. Wayne State College opens the scoring 32nd minute. Koo looking for the equalizer. Martina Kratley brings the ball up near the sideline, puts a shot on goal, but Hofstetter corrals it in for another save. Wildcats led 1-0 at half. USF scored 2 in the second for the 2-1 comeback win over Wayne State. Now it's Sunday, which means we got a lot to catch up on in NFL world. First, let's head to Kansas City. Coming off a huge upset win over the Lions, Kansas City looking to keep it going at home. It was a return of Rashee Rice after his 6-game suspension, and he showed out, putting the Chiefs on the board first with this wide receiver sweep. Later in the second quarter, Mahomes would hit Hollywood Brown over the middle to make it a 2-score game, 14-0 Kansas City. But like I said, Rice is back like he never left. Huge catch over the shoulder to put Kansas City up 21-0 right here. The Chiefs would go on to shut out the Raiders, win this one 31-0. In Chicago, the Bears hosted the Saints, trying to make their 3-game win streak into 4. Bears defense came up huge. They terrorized Spencer Rattler, sacking the quarterback 4 times, as well as snagging 3 interceptions. Chicago would really begin to pull away, though, later in the second quarter when they would hand the rock to DeAndre Swift, make several defenders miss, and score 6. Bears go up 13-0. With the help of 4 Jake Moody field goals, the Bears send the Saints to the buses with a 26-14 loss. In Minnesota, the Vikings hosted the Eagles, who are coming off a huge loss to the Giants last week. Vikings would fall behind early but score here in the third quarter after a Wildcat snap to Jordan Mason to cut into the deficit. But the Purple People Eaters would not find a whole lot of luck outside of a few field goals. The rest of the game, Eagles take it 28-22. Now out to the Grand Canyon State, where the Cardinals hosted Green Bay Packers. Cardinals took control of the game in the first half, but the Packers would score 6 in the third, with Josh Jacobs making it a 13-13 ball game. To begin the fourth quarter, down 20-13, Jordan Love would roll out and find his big tight end, Tucker Kraft, tie the game again at 20. After a few more possessions for both teams, it would be Josh Jacobs and the Packers stamping this game as a win, beating the Cardinals 27-23. Now we go to Denver for what I think was the game of the week. Broncos going to the fourth, down 19-0, but this amazing ricochet touchdown finally put the Broncos somehow on the board. Flash forward to 5 minutes left in the game. Bo Nix adds 6 to make it a 26-16 ball game after a 2-point conversion. 10-point game with under 5 minutes left, though. Jackson Dart scrambles, and he's going to be throwing a pick to Justin Strnad, giving the Broncos another shot at chasing the win. Hopes starting to come alive for Denver. They would cash in on the turnover and make it a 3-point game with under 4 minutes left. Denver would end up with the ball again after the 2-minute warning. Nix would scramble for 18-yard touchdown to give the Broncos their first lead of the game in the final minutes. Dart and the Giants would throw in another touchdown to take what was thought to be the final lead of the game at 32-30, but with 37 seconds left, Denver would drive down the field and nail a walk-off 39-yard field goal to win this 33-32, scoring all 33 of those points in the fourth quarter alone. What a game that was. Finally, last but not least, it's time to take a look at our Sports Zone top 5 plays of the week. This week was by far the hardest to choose from, but let's start with number 5. Number 5 takes us to some pink in the rink action, where after a nice turnover, Dallas Vu would shake and bake, send it to Max Anderson, who put it in the oven. Nice goal for the Muskies. Number 4 takes us to Dordt on Saturday, where Isaac Kackmerns would dive to intercept this pass, tipped by Mount Marty, and what a play by that guy. Number 3 is another diving interception. This time it's Northwestern College's Jordan Carter grabbing the second pick of the game from Chevalier. Number 2, a little bit of volleyball, but this top play goes to the whole Western Christian squad. So they not only get it back over the net after a dive, then defends this quick spike, but also gets the point after the strong rally. Good teamwork there. But the number 1 play has to go to the blocked BAT by Kyler Fritz, which helped steal Northwestern's huge upset win over Morningside on Saturday, winning 14-13. That's our top 5 plays, and we'll be right back after the break.
KCAU 9 Sports.
What's poppin', Siouxland? Welcome back to sports. I'm Alexander Huddleston. The high school volleyball postseason has begun. I took a trip over to Kingsley Pierson as they hosted River Valley. Only 3 wins this year for River Valley. Kingsley Pierson looking to get to the next round. First 2 sets were total domination by the Panthers. Big spike here by senior Addie Foster to add on to the pile. Panthers weren't just sending it over the net, they were keeping it there. Huge block here by Peyton Trapp and Ryan Wright in the first set. Panthers take this one 3-1 and look to face off against IKM Manning on Wednesday. Over at Woodbury Central, the Wildcats hosted Siouxland Christian. Eagles took the first set, but it would be Braylee Bremer who closes down the second with this spike. Bremer also broke the school record tonight for aces in a season at 74. Third set, Wildcats looking to close. Good setup for Lexi Gilbert to lay the hammer down and win set 3 for Woodbury Central. The Wildcats send the Eagles packing after a 3-1 win at home. They now play West Monona on Wednesday. Now this takes us into our final top 15 rankings in each class for high school volleyball in Iowa. In 5A, Sioux City East is hanging on at number 13. They play Sioux City North on Thursday for the Class 5A Region 3 semifinal. Down in 4A, we see Sioux Center holding that number 2 spot at 26-4. They will face either Fort Dodge or Spencer in the Class 4A Region 2 semifinals. At number 9 is Sergeant Bluff Luton, who looks to face Lamar's or Storm Lake, whoever wins that game, in the Region 7 semifinal. Right below them is MOC Floyd Valley at 10, who will take on the winner of Lewis Central and Denison Schleswig. After that, we see Bishop Heelan hanging on to that 13th spot, and they will play the winner of Harlan Community or Glenwood. Top of the 3A rankings is owned by the Wolfpack of Western Christian. They begin their playoff run Tuesday night against Estherville Lincoln Central. And number 4 is Cherokee, also beginning their push tomorrow night against Eagle Grove. Number 7 is the Knights from Unity Christian, who take on Okoboji for their quarterfinal match on Tuesday. Class 2A, Hinton stands at number 3. They don't play their Region 3 quarterfinal until Wednesday against West Sioux or Sibley Uchiden. Finally, in 1A, we find West Monona down at the 12th spot. And as I said earlier, they take on Woodbury Central after tonight's win on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Boyden Hull rounds out the top 15. They host Harris Lake Park for their round 1 matchup. At the collegiate level, we saw a huge upset win for Northwestern over Morningside on Saturday, and one of the key factors of that game was Jordan Carter. The defensive back was named the GPAC Defensive Player of the Week. Carter had 2 interceptions on the game, as well as a pass breakup. One of the receptions you see here, he returned 53 yards to the house to put the Red Raiders on the board. Raiders now on bye. But that takes us right into our next subject. The NAI released its most recent rankings, and things have shifted. Dordt has climbed up to number 7 at 6-0 after their big win over Mount Marty, beating Mount Marty 33-13, and they now face Midland this week. The biggest shift is Morningside dropping from number 4 to number 11 outside of the top 10 after their 1-point upset loss to Northwestern over the weekend. They look to bounce back this week, hosting number 23 Concordia. But let's talk about the school who dropped that Mustang team. Northwestern has found its way back onto the rankings at number 4, and they will go on bye this week, but then head to Midland to keep the train rolling. Now at the pro level, we have some Monday Night Football between the Lions and the Buccaneers. These 2 teams are favorites to go all the way in the NFC, and this may have been a preview of the NFC Championship game, but we can only hope so. Lions strike first in the blackout uniforms. Goff is going to hit Amon-Ra St. Brown for the 29-yard touchdown. Lions go up 7 later in the second. They would score again, this time on the ground, and off goes Sonic. Jahmyr Gibbs blasts off for a 68-yard touchdown run. Look at that man go all the way to the end zone. Baker and the Bucs couldn't get anything going on offense as the Lions sacked Baker 4 times and had 2 takeaways. Lions dominate this one to win 24-9. And we'll be right back.